So, where do I start? Let's go. So, the first time... I don't even like talking about this. So, let's go. So when I was 21, I lost my best friend, my everything, my hero, my protector, my right-hand guy, my number one man in the world, Daddy Gallia. When it happened, it was massive shock, so it was horrible circumstances. It wasn't like, not that it's any easier, but it wasn't like a long-term illness that Dad had suffered. He was only 47. He was basically killed in the hospital. I say killed because it could have been prevented. He went to trial and everything. It was all over the news, BBC, I think it was. But yeah, it's even hard to talk about to this day. I was 21, obviously. My dad had a brain tumour he had it for a year, and then he got diagnosed with it just at the routine like Specsavers appointment. There are other opticians out there, but he chose to go to Specsavers in Lytham St Arms. Went to Specsavers and got a test done, and they basically said they saw some pressure behind his eye or some kind of growth. So he got sent to the hospital, and they said it was a pituitary tumour, which doesn't affect like anything going forward. Some people live with it for years and years. They don't even know they've got it. Some people know they've got it and still live with it and they're absolutely fine with no treatment. But because Dad's was pressing on his nerve in his eye, he had to have surgery to have it removed. So they went up through his nose, took it out. Dad was so healthy at this point. He was 46. A really healthy man, played football, did exercise, loved weight training, had 3 kids, wife. He met my mum when they were 13. He'd had me, my brother and my sister. I'm the youngest, so I'm 29. My brother is 32, I want to say. Sorry, Noriko, if you're not 32. And my sister is nearly 40. No, I'm joking. She's about 35, something like that. She's going to kill me. She's beautiful though. Sorry, Francesca. Can you see I just make a joke out of everything? That's just how I get by in life. I think it's the best way. It's just simple. So yeah, then he had his first surgery and they said that the chance of it coming back was like 0.something%. He started getting symptoms again within 7 to 9 months. In this time, he'd built himself back up, because obviously after you've had a surgery, you know what it's like, recovery, blah, blah. So he'd built himself back up. Me and him had started going running. He'd started going back to football. He used to even go and stand there and watch the lads play and stuff, you know, just to still be involved. He was an amazing footballer, by the way. Amazing. I took it after him, captain of the football team. Then he started getting symptoms again. So he went to the doctors, they sent him to the hospital, had tests done, they said it had started growing back. But this time it started shutting his eye. So it was affecting really badly his nerves in his eye. So he lost his sight in one eye, it just shut. His eye hadn't stopped working, but he got double vision and the eyelid had kind of shut. So he had to wear an eye patch. Then they said to him that he had to have his driving licence took off him, and that he wouldn't be able to drive again safely. So he had to hand his driving licence in, that they couldn't do surgery on it because it was too close to other nerves, and it was just soul destroying to watch him go through this. He's the strongest person I've ever met in my life, and he used to live by the motto that there's always someone worse off than you. And that is what I will carry through with me forever. Sorry for swinging this around, by the way. It's my phone case. And it's stopping me from getting anxiety while I'm talking. Anyway, so then I remember being with him one day and we got a phone call. And it was the surgeon from the hospital. And he rung and he said, I'm just calling to speak to your dad. Is there any chance I can have a word with him? So I said, yeah. So I put Dad on the phone. And Dad looked shocked, like taken back a bit. And I thought, what's wrong? What's going on? And I wanted to know because I'm nosy as anything. So I was like, what's going on? Like this. And he said, he got off the phone. He said, they're going to do surgery on me. They found someone and they're going to do surgery on me. They think they can do it. And he was so overwhelmed. It was just like, and I remember ringing my mum. I was like, Mum, come home. Like, they can do surgery on Dad. So that was like, even though it was like bittersweet, because obviously he had to have surgery, it was like a lifeline. He had the surgery done. The surgeons were amazing. I can't fault him at all. Then fast forward, and he wasn't well. He got taken into hospital. He had pneumonia. And when he was in with pneumonia, they didn't put, the bed things on him where it stops your legs from getting blood clots in it and stuff like that. They didn't do any of that to him. They sent him home after 5 days and said that they needed the bed for someone else. So they sent him home and left him to recover at home on oral antibiotics. So obviously you listen to the doctors, don't you, because you think they know what they're going on about. So then we went back home, and a few days later he wasn't feeling well again. So I rung the ambulance because he felt like he couldn't breathe, and I rung it on the 13th, August the 13th, 2012. A day I will never forget. So I rung the ambulance, and I had to ring them twice. They took ages to come, and then when they came, it was a man and a woman, and the arrogance of them was untrue. Like, I've been dealt with the NHS. Some of them are amazing, but I don't care what anyone says, some of them aren't, and I'm not afraid to say it because we've suffered a huge, huge loss from what we've been through. And Dad lost his life. The ultimate thing, he lost his life at 47. So we went, they came in, and I could tell Dad couldn't breathe properly, couldn't get a full breath, and they just told him that he was having a panic attack, and I was like, he's not having a panic attack. Like, he's 47 years old, he knows if he's having a panic attack or not, he's not having one. But they were adamant that he was having a panic attack, and that was it. So they left him, and they just said, if you need us again, just call us out. So Dad was obviously made to feel stupid, like as if, why have I called an ambulance out when I'm just having a panic attack? But deep down he knew it wasn't that. We all knew it wasn't that. So he slept on the sofa that night with my mum, and they went to bed later on. I remember I went to bed because I had work the next day. So in the morning they dropped me off at work, and my mum, my sister and my dad went to the doctors because my mum was adamant he needed checking. So they went to the doctors. To cut a long story short, the doctor did everything he could, sent him to hospital. The hospital left him in a bed from 9 o'clock till 5 o'clock that night. Then the dog's barking. Then he got tests done like throughout the day, just like echocardiogram, I think it's called, all heart tests, things like that. Nothing really came back off it. And so they were going to send him for a CT scan. And as he was on the way to the CT scanner, my mum said, can I go with him? Then they said, yeah. So she was walking to the CT scanner with him, and a man came out of a room and said, is that Brian Gallier? And they said, yeah. And he said, he's got to come with me, he's coming for a procedure. So my mum was like, no, he's going for a CT scan. And even the porter, I knew the porter, and he said, no, he's going for a CT scan. I've been told to bring him down. He said, no, he's coming with me. So mum and dad went in the room, obviously with this consultant, and he said that they suspected Dad have a blood clot, so they needed to put a cut in his leg, send a pipe catheter thing up, and then just check there was nothing going on. So obviously you listen to him. He said he knew he'd be spoke to like the other people, the consultants that had spoke to Dad in the day. Bear in mind, Dad was eating biscuits, Haribos, talking to us before this. Like, he wasn't dying. He was talking to us and everything. And they'd left him all day. If it was that much of a case, you wouldn't have left him from 9 till 5 to do something. So they took him in anyway, and Dad had to sign the consent form. They said they do this procedure all the time and he'll be fine. So we sat outside the room. I rung my brother straight away to get him to come to the hospital, because obviously at this point we didn't think there was anything bad happening. We all said we loved him, kissed him, said we'll see you soon, and walked out. That's the last time I saw Dad alive. So then when we was outside in the room, nurses kept bringing us tea and biscuits and stuff. It was just really weird. After about half an hour, and we could hear Dad like coughing, and it was just like like that, and then it got worse and louder. So we asked the nurse, like, I think it was my sister asked the nurse, she said, is that normal for him to be coughing? And she said it must be normal if it's part of the procedure. It was very vague. So then this went on for about 30 to 40 minutes, and then it just went silent and there was nothing. Now, we didn't know why it went silent, and there was nothing at this point, because obviously we was unaware of what was going on inside the room. But what had actually happened is what we found out at the trial that we went to with the GMC, which is a load of rubbish, and if you're in a battle against the GMC, don't bother going. They just do it to tick a box, and there is no point. So we found out that what had happened in the room is he'd gone into Dad with the wrong piece on the end of the machine that he wasn't even trained to use. The machine was still under licence at university. He'd never done a procedure with this machine before, and he'd never used like the machine ever. He took it upon himself to go in with a blade on the end instead of like a camera thing, and as he went in with the blade, because he couldn't find anything, he's gone through what my dad's main artery to his heart, going too far into his heart. He shouldn't have even gone up there. It was just meant to be looking in the lungs. So he went right up to my dad's heart, cut the main artery to the heart. He could have saved him at that point, but he didn't have a clue what he was doing. He didn't press the beeper till too late on, when it was too gone, to save him. We found out that he could have put a balloon in and then saved Dad, but he didn't know what he was doing. So Dad basically choked to death on his own blood in the room. When I'm talking about it, honestly, I don't even think that it's my life, or it's my story, or it's my dad, because I couldn't even talk about it. But it's like I'm speaking about someone else's story. But that is what happened ultimately. Nurses came and got us. They told us that Dad had gone for a CT scan, which he hadn't. He'd been transferred to intensive care. They'd basically landed him on the intensive care doctors, and he was gone before they got him into the theatre room, and he was gone. There was nothing they could do. So we walked down to intensive care. By this point, we still thought he was alive. We was told nothing. We got to the relatives' room, and then a doctor came in and just said, Brian came to us very poorly, because obviously at that stage he'd had a cut through his main artery to his heart. And I'm really sorry to say he's passed away. And that was it, like, bang, life gone. So our life as I knew it then was over. Like, Dad was my best friend. We did everything together. We went to the football together. Gosh, we went out every weekend together. When Dad was ill, I made his soup for him. I made his toast for him. I made his drinks for him. I used to go walking with him. Like, he was the first person that, him and Mum are the first people I'd ever put before anybody else in this whole entire world, and I still will till the day I die. But so I said, I want to see him. I was going mad. I wanted to see him because I just couldn't believe it. I thought, I've just seen him a couple of hours ago. He spoke to me, he kissed me. I just seen him. But we went into the room where he was, and the woman said to me, look, you're not going to like what you see. The police are having to come in. It's because it wasn't, not a planned death, but it wasn't a explained death. It was suspect, so the police had to come in and do everything. So when I got there, she said, it's really not nice what you're going to see, but if you adamant you want to go in, you want to go in. So my sister was behind me, and I just went walking straight in. And as I went walking in, the bed was like to the side there on the left, and I just saw Dad's black curly hair. And I literally, as I walked in, still thought he was there. He was going to be there. He was going to be alive. And as I walked to the side of the bed and turned, he just, like, his eyes were shut, and he had blood from all the way up here, all the way down here, all the way down there. That is not, what Dad looked like was not someone who'd died 10 minutes ago. It was someone who died an hour ago. He had pooled blood all across here, all down his back, and he just had a gown obviously covering him. And honestly, I can't describe what I felt at that time. It was total and utter shock. I don't ever really think about that or talk about it or anything, because to me it's just too hurtful. And I've been to counsellor after counsellor, and they've all told me the same thing, that I need to let go. How can you let go of something that's got no explanation to it? There's no reason for this to have happened. Nothing. So I found that I needed to find my own way of coping for it. My way of coping is, 1, keeping my family safe, because I know that's what Dad would have done. 2, sticking to our morals, because I know that's what Dad would want. 3, take Dad through life with me, through every decision I make and everything. And 4, just live life to the best I can, because you only get one, and when it's gone, it's gone. Just having a moment. I'll just be a second. So I looked into doing different exercises. I got stuck into, when it first happened, I'm not gonna lie, smoked like mad. Wasn't even a smoker before. Smoked like mad, drunk like mad. Ended up in a hospital with burst stomach ulcers in the middle of the night. Was in for 2 weeks. That's another story. They were sending me home after 3 days of being in. They found that my D-dimer was high, which indicates blood clot or sepsis, they said. And they were sending me home because they couldn't locate the blood clot. I was adamant, obviously this has happened to my dad, I was adamant there was something wrong with me. I said, I know my own body, there's something wrong with me. So they kept me in. Got a surgeon to come and see me. They said, this is the last person that can see you. The surgeon took me for a scan at 12 o'clock that night, CT scan, and he said, you've got burst stomach ulcers, are leaking out, like infection into your body. So he said, we're keeping you in the hospital for 2 weeks. You're going to be on a drip, no food, no water. If you get through it, you get through it. If you don't, you're going to need a colostomy bag and a feeding tube and everything, and we don't know how long it'll last. So that was a massive wake-up call. So after that, I thought, I can't keep doing this to myself. I was just sabotaging myself, that's it. So I thought, I've got reason to live. I've got reason to live because I need to live a life for me and for Dad and for all of us. So I got into exercise, I lost some weight, and cracked on, because that's all you can do. I do meditation, I do yoga. They really, really help with anxiety in the bad days. They keep you grounded and on track. But all I can say is, don't give up. You have got reason to live. You've got a reason to be here. And don't let anyone tell you any different, because even the person in your head on the bad days that tries to tell you bad things, don't listen to him. Go away. Still here now and you're still watching. Thank you so much for listening to my story and for sticking with me. I'm going to keep the videos coming, so please subscribe and turn your notifications on so that you see when I get a video on. But thank you very much. Love you all.